Hello everyone, my name is Mark, and today is May 14 of 2021, and I want to share a testimony of how the Lord took me out of the Boy Scouts and the Order of the Arrow, and why. So I've been a Boy Scout since 2012, but in 2010 I was a Cub Scout, right? And the Cub Scouts are for younger children, and when you get to the age of 10, you move to the Boy Scouts, right? And so I've been I was a Boy Scout all the way up to 2020, which was last year, and so it's been so I was a Boy Scout for 8 years, and my mom and I have a blog in which we've written some dreams or testimonies that the Lord has given us. And in a part of the blog I wrote about a part of my experience of when God showed me the truth about the Boy Scouts. And I've tried to do this video recording many times, but I wanted to do it like tell all the parts in one video, but because it takes too long, because it's many details, I'm gonna try to do like one part in one video, so it's gonna be multiple videos. So they're probably gonna be 3 videos, because the first one was it's basically like like 3 events in one, because I was a Boy Scout for 8 years, so and God showed me what He showed me about in the last 2 years before leaving. So it was in 2018. So I didn't know any of what God showed me all the way up to 2018 in a camping that I went. And so on this video is going to be, I'm just going to talk about my experience in that camping, which was of the Order of the Arrow. Now before, and very briefly, I like to briefly say about what are the Boy Scouts, very briefly, and then what is the Order of the Arrow. So basically the Boy Scouts, according to the Boy Scouts, is basically a non-profit organization that trains young people up to from 10 to 18 years old, and it teaches them basic survival skills like how to make fireplaces, how to use tools, how to build tents, basic CPR, right? And we sometimes do like community service. For example, we might have activities where we go to a beach and we try to like clean the pollution out, the debris of trash, or we help national reserves, right, in the same way, cleaning or helping the staff. And so basically, and also we have like our own like an oath, and we have different positions with subgroups which are called patrols. And yeah, and also we have ranks. There are 7 ranks, which are a scout, tenderfoot, second class, first class, and star, life, and eagle. Right, so the eagle is like the part of the scout emblem, and I only reached up to life, which is the second highest. But because of what God has showed me, and because of what He let me know through this experience, I decided to finish before eagle. And alright, so there are like out of those 7 ranks, the last 4 from first class to eagle, when you reach the first class rank, you are like the troop. It's called a troop. Your troop can like select you for certain things that people of the lower ranks can do. Right? For example, you can be an instructor, or you can like help the senior, which is like the one of the not the adults, but one of the young people who can serve as the I guess the leader of the troop. Right? There's the adult leader, and there's one young leader. Or you can there's many other things, but also you can be like the leader of your subgroup of your patrol. Right? So it's like you have like more I guess privileges because of your experience. So, and when I reached first class, I was invited 2 times. I was invited to a group called the Order of the Arrow, and the initials are OA, right? Order and then Arrow. And the first time, I was like maybe 16, so I was younger, and well, that time I declined. I didn't have like interest to go, so I didn't go. And then the second time which was in 2018. I was a year older. I decided to go. So, but before that, I never heard of the Order of the Arrow, and maybe I had seen like people with the logo of the OA, because it has a logo which is it's like a red, like the end of an arrow, right, of a stone arrow, like from an Indians, color red. So yeah, I was chosen twice, and the second time I went, and basically when they start, it's like they give you like an orientation, and basically now the group is like a separate group in the Boy Scouts, because they have the same uniform, but they have a sash, a white sash across the uniform with different types of red arrows, right? But the thing is that people of that group, they can't tell, for example, they can't tell non-members that they are of that group. They can't say anything about the group. But I didn't know that. So anyway, I went to the orientation, which was a meeting at a local college, and they told us what it was, and then they told us a date for camping, which was in the largest in our national scout ranch, which is the Oaxaca Scout Ranch. And so basically, in 2018, I think it was in summer of 2018, I went there. And in that experience, which was just Friday to Saturday, Sunday, so a whole weekend, it was very difficult, and like I never thought I would encounter what I saw, what the Lord showed me. So okay, basically, I'm just gonna talk about the camping because it has a lot of details. So that's why it's gonna be one video per part because it's kind of long. Okay, so on the camping, we were told. My dad and I went to the camping on Friday, and we arrived at the ranch parking lot, and then we took our bags and we went to the food court, to the a registering area, and then after we were registered, we sat at a table with other members of my troop who were also selected for that, right? So they had to be first class or higher, and there were also members of other troops from all over Puerto Rico, and so it's like we waited there, and then before we went out into the campsite, they took I didn't expect them to do this, but they took our bags and they would do a final inspection. And well, I had many of us had brought some matches and paper and maybe a pen or something, and they confiscated any paper, any writing utensil, and they left us with only 5 matches. And so that was weird. The camping was very weird, but during the whole experience, God showed me or at least he let me know that the Boy Scouts in general is a cult. It's not, because people think it's Christian or faith-based, but you don't know what faith you're talking, because they say the scout has to be reverent, but they never specify what God, and they never talk about Jesus or anything of that. So it's actually hypocritically Christian, and it's not Christians because of what God showed me. So after that we went outside, and there were some of the staff were dressed as Native American Indians, right? And they took us through a weird path on that campsite. Now I have been there before because that's the campsite where we do our annual camping, our national camping, which is usually about a week long. Now it depends on the season. For example, in summer it may be 7 days long, and on winter it could be 5 days long, but it's only either in summer or winter. And I had gone there 2 times before, so I knew the place pretty well. But the place where they took us, it was at night, it was weird because we went through places that I didn't know existed there, and nobody told me about it, and we walked for a long time, and I was always very suspicious, and I was very confused through the whole camping. So basically, we went through it was a path, but it was away from the main, I guess, road. Not a road, but the main dirt road, but you could tell that it was a bit cleared, so it was a path, but it was kind of hidden. So we went through this foresty area. We walked a lot, and I saw some structures that I have seen before in the other normal campings, because this camping was only 3 days, right? And the crazy thing was that after that OA camping, the week later, that summer, it was going to be the national general camping, but I wasn't going there because I was appointed to this one only. But anyway, and then after we walked a lot, we went through. I recognized like 2 structures, and we passed through them, but I didn't know exactly where we were, and it was night. We were not permitted any flashlights. Oh, and also I think one of the flashlights were also one of the things they confiscated. I forgot. So yeah, we were not permitted flashlights. And then we went to this. We ended up in the shore because that Oaxaca has a lake where we do canoeing, and we ended up in the shore. But I never gone to this shore, and the place there was sand, right, the edge of the lake, and there were no leaves, so it was a cleared place. And apparently the only road to go there was through that narrow foresty road. So, and then we went there, and there were like candles, or not candles, but like buckets with a bit of fire in a circle, and there was an unlit big fire in the middle, but it was unlit. It wasn't on fire. And then some of the guys dressed in Indian clothing, they did like a ceremony. They said I don't know what, and we were like in a circle, and I was like, I wasn't even paying attention to what they said, because I felt in my spirit, I felt very confused. And I started from that moment on, all the way to the end of the camping, I felt very oppressed, like spiritually. And so basically, after they did that ceremony, which I didn't remember what they said, it was weird. And then we went through the same place. No, I'm sorry. We went back through the same road, and then we went to like another road, which was like a secondary road. And we went to this. I guess I would call it like the common place, which was we went to a place where it has a lot of flags. And that is actually in the normal week-long campings. That's where every morning all the troops we gather every morning, and we do the oath, and we cheer for the troops or whatever. And we went there, and it was night, and basically I don't know why we stopped there. And the place that's the common place is a very this is all outdoors, right? It's a big campsite, and that place it's all cleared with low grass from pretty long distance. And we did like I don't know exactly the name. In parties where in the movies, you have like one person behind another, in a line, and they're like dancing. I don't know the name, but it's a conga line. Well, it was something like that, and we were one person in front of the other, and through all this we still had our big backpacks on, so we were tired by this time. And in front and the back of the group, there were one of the staff dressed as Indians, and they were like leading the line, and we went in circles for like, well, I don't know, to me it was like for like 10 minutes or something. It was actually 15 circles, but I was so confused, and I was like, what's going on, like, cause they never told us, this is gonna happen. They never told us what was gonna happen. It was like, I don't know, to me it was very random. But so after that we went back through the path, and as we were going back, we stopped, and then they told us the path was like, sometimes it was as narrow as one person could fit, and sometimes it was like 1.5 people could fit like through it. And they told us to build our tents, to stop, build our tents there in the middle of the path, like in a line, and we to sleep there. And we had no flashlight, and we couldn't do it with flashlight because it was prohibited. So I don't know how I did it. I mean, I did it so fast because I knew how to make tents. We are taught that before, but it was like a so-called challenge. It wasn't really a challenge. It was it was all occult, but I didn't know. So the thing is that I did my tent somehow, and I always knew that, I always felt like through the camping that I was confused. I felt a spiritual oppression that I didn't know what it was. I was so confused, but at the same time I could feel like God was with me, even though I didn't understand what was happening. So I did my tent somehow, and I slept. And they told us that when we wake up the next day, they told us that we had to make a fire in front of the tent, like and it was like, and the whole camping was filled with this weird ritual stuff, which God helped me find out that it was in pagan stuff. But to me, because I didn't know at the time, it was weird, and it was like random ritual stuff. I didn't know, but I still had suspicion of like something was wrong. So I woke up, and this Indian dressed staff went to each of one of us, told us to make a fireplace, and then and then after we did it, whether it turned on or not didn't matter. We just had to do it. And then we went and reached the other group. Now, instead of going to the food court for breakfast, there was another weird thing, and it was that we did formation like we do in patrols, I guess troop patrols, cause from different troops, and they had placed us in different groups. Now, my dad was there, and there were parents of most of the young people there, but the thing is that our groups were separated between the adults. I barely saw my dad through the camping, except when they placed us in the a common place or a reunion area. But I barely. And also we weren't able to speak. Like, we were prohibited to speak throughout the whole camping. Like, it was like they call it a challenge, but it was not a challenge. Or at least they don't understand that it's pagan, and that what they're doing is a satanic ritual. because it has ritual aspects of Freemasonry, right? And so basically, after we went to the formation, and in the formation they gave us like a ration of food, like a boiled egg, a orange juice, some piece of bread, and it was like it was weird. Like, I didn't know why. And I mean, I knew camping sort of like a challenge, but it's not. It was like random weird. It was strange processes that we had to do. So it was basically okay. So after that, when we started to do chores throughout the day, that was on Saturday. We went, at least my group and I went, and we cleaned the bathrooms, we cleaned the campsite areas. The groups were divided in different campsites, campsite A, B, C, and we had to clean. And one of the things that they made us do, it was one of the weirder things, which I later realized what it was. In the registry area, they cleaned it up, and there was a lot of amount of cardboard pieces. There were some old mattresses and newspaper, flammable things, and there were cans, 12 cans in a corner. And our job there was to fit all of the flammable stuff and cut the mattresses. And it was weird because I was like, well, I would see right now I would see all that, and I say, oh yeah, we're doing, because we were making the same fiery cans that I saw. Remember, they were in a circle in the first ceremony, right on the shore of the lake. But I didn't, at that time I was so confused of everything, and I was like, well, and I didn't know why we were making, why. I didn't know why we couldn't speak, because you see, they told us not to do things, but they didn't explain anything at all. So we did that, and I was I was very puzzled at everything. And even though we couldn't talk, I was really annoyed by that. Like, yeah, it was almost like we were being silenced, but they weren't saying it. They were saying it's a challenge, when you eat less food, it's a challenge. And also we couldn't sleep because it was basically torture. So yeah, because at one point when we finished all our chores, we went to this plain, another grass covered area, and we were told to rest. But the thing is that we sat in our groups, and we were all so tired, and I was so tired that I laid back, and I put my cap on my face so that the sun didn't shine on me, and I tried to sleep. But one of the staff told me, hey, you can't sleep, you can't fall asleep. And I didn't know it at that time, but that's basically a form of torture called sleep deprivation. And one of the things that makes the OA order, other than its Freemason relationships, which I will explain in the other parts of my testimony, because after the camping, my dad and I did some research, and we found documents, and we found a guy who was a Freemason, and two people, and he made a comparison between the Order of the Arrow ceremonies and Freemason ceremonies, and they're basically the same. The only changes are they disguise certain symbolisms. For example, in Freemason ceremony, because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because there's a lot of information that God showed me about them. So I'm just gonna finish about the camping and then I'll go to the information on the next video. So I couldn't sleep and I felt more confused, and then I talked to a staff because I really ignored the no talking rule. I didn't care. I was mad at them. I was confused. I didn't know why they were making us do things against our will, being young people, giving us less food for more work, not letting us sleep, right, rest. So spiritually, for those for those who have a relationship with Christ and are Boy Scouts, or know people who are Boy Scouts, or you've been Boy Scout before, and this was never Christian, and all that the Scout Masters, that those instructors, they taught lies, because things that they didn't know themselves either. They were taught the same thing. But if you do your research, and I have many links to Freemason websites. One of them is called Phoenix Masonry, I think .com or .org, and there's a part of it's a Freemason organization, and that Freemason group, actually, in one part, when you search about the Boy Scouts, they talk about how they infiltrate Freemason leaders in Boy Scouts as if they were Scout leaders, like Scout parent leaders, and they do that to gain members for the Freemason lodges, right? So, and by the way, and the Order of the Arrow has lodges, and the Freemasons have lodges, so there's a lot of things in common. And so after all that sleep torture, sleep deprivation and whatever, and silencing and all that, at the end of the day, we went to our, I guess, the barracks, or and we went there. They were in the bunker beds, and after that, they told us to put on our they call it the Class C uniform, which is I don't know if you've seen Boy Scout uniforms. The Class C is the pale colored one, the one with the merit badge, the sash with merit badges. Sometimes it's depending on your position, maybe it's green, like dark green, but many times it's like a light brown color, right? Sometimes it's called a gala, right, which is a formal uniform. And they told us to put that on because we were going to the final ceremony. So there was the opening ceremony, was the one in the shore lake, and this one was going to be in another place, this one was really more secret than the other, because this one was on basically next to the parking lot. It was weird because we went to the parking lot, we crossed the parking lot, and we went to another foresty area, and they cleared a place, and there was they cleared a path, which it was there, but it had more leaves, it was actually hidden on purpose, and it was on the other side of in that campsite, the Oaxaca campsite. There's a road, the highway, which is perpendicular to the campsite. So for example, there's the highway and the entrance is at the right. You enter at the right in the campsite. You go you turn right, you enter the gates, then you turn right and there's the parking lot. Well, that area where we went was a forest area between the highway and the parking lot, so it was like almost to the outside of the campsite, but it was basically hidden because you wouldn't expect there to be anything where there are no buildings, no structures, because it was basically, well, there was nothing there except that that secret path, and at the end of it there was another cleared area without trees, but it was secret. Obviously, you know, they don't want people to know, and even if they say, oh, you can't tell anything about this, I don't really fear them. Besides, God will judge them very greatly for deceiving young people, deceiving parents for not knowing this, and for other things that I will tell later, like like the ceremony documents and how they're hidden. Okay, but the thing is that we went through that secret path. We were following these Indian dressed staff guys, and because it was like part of the ceremony, and they told us to wait in the middle of the path, like to pause, because there were other Indian dressed guys on that clear area, the fireplace. And they had, because I don't know, I didn't know this, but after I was able to get the transcripts, right? I have the transcript of the ordeal ceremony. Well, of the ordeal ceremony. That's the name, right? Because there's 3 levels in the OA. There's ordeal, brotherhood, and then a vigil of honor, right? And for Masonry, there's also 3 levels. There's there's apprentice, and I think it's like the other one is like something like craft, or maybe it's, I don't remember exactly. I think it's, I don't know, it's not brother, I think it's brotherhood too, but the thing is, okay, there's apprentice, then there's like a mason craft or something like that, and then there's master mason. So they also have 3 levels, right? So we went, after we were able to go there, they gave us a rope and each of us had to take the rope, like we weren't tied to it, we were like holding the rope along it. So we were in line, each of us took that one rope, a very long one, and they told us with that rope to go around those lit candles, the lit cans with fire, which were also in a circle, which were the ones that I later found out or realized that they had made us do, right? Remember the cardboard and the newspaper and the mattress, those mattresses were the same. They were old mattresses from that same campsite, they weren't donated, they were from there. So they were actually making ritual craft with that stuff, with the same mattresses that we sleep in our campings. So after this, we went around with this rope and we did like the ceremony, and this time the center fire, the big one, was lit. It wasn't just wood there, it wasn't fire. Well, or maybe, yeah, okay, it wasn't fire, and they talked about there was a story, and which was kind of a weird story about the founders of the Order of the Arrow. And the Order of the Arrow follows there's a lot of Native American spiritual symbolism, because the Order of the Arrow, like, it took its symbolism. Part of it is from Freemasonry, but another part of it is usually from an Indian tribe called the Leli Lenape Indians from, I think it was Delaware. And so it has a lot of pagan. Well, the Native American part is pagan, and the Freemason part is also pagan. So yeah, it was a big shock to me to realize this. But the thing is that during that whole crazy, weird ceremony, which I have the transcript, I don't have it right now in my hands, but like I don't really remember much of the details of the ceremony, because I was so confused and I was so puzzled that why is this going on? What is this? That I really didn't concentrate on the details. But the thing is that during this ceremony, I don't know what part of the ceremony, but during the ceremony, God gave me a vision in which this is the only vision that I've had and that I've heard something. And in the vision, when I started, I was in a circle, and we were waiting for something, I don't know, and they were like drums, because they were doing like music, so it was really an occult stuff. Or this isn't Christian, this is pagan. And in the vision, my hearing, my vision and my hearing went like kind of blurry, like kind of like vanished a little bit, and I suddenly couldn't hear well, and I couldn't I saw everything was blurry. There was a lot of spiritual oppression, a lot of demonic stuff, and I saw a sentence written, like a sentence appeared in front of me, like it looked like 3D white letters, but they weren't English, they weren't Latin letters, they weren't in a weird language which I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's Hebrew or what. I thought it was Hebrew, but it was also, the sentence was also blurry, so I wasn't able to read it. But God read it to me like 3 or 4 times, and I heard his voice, and he said in Spanish, he said clearly, he said that the Order of the Arrow has pagan origins, right? In Spanish, he said that la Orden de la Flecha tiene orígenes paganos, right? That's the way he said it in Spanish. So he told me the Order of the Arrow has pagan origins, and he told me so clearly, and I heard it, and I was like, well, I don't know, when he told it to me, at the same time I was mumbling what he was like. I was repeating the sentence, kind of whispering it like 2 or 3 times, because he repeated it over and again and over again. And after that, after the vision went away, and I didn't understand exactly what he meant, because he later led me to research about it very intensely, and I kept researching it and finding it out for about a year or something. But I kind of understood that because I was so spiritually confused, God was kind of answering my confusion, well, he was telling me that that group has pagan origins. So at that time, I didn't understand that completely. I didn't know what he meant by pagan origins, and I was like, but I understood that was like an answer. Like God was trying to take me out of the confusion that I was feeling, because it was very strong. I wasn't able to grasp details about the ceremony. I was confused. I didn't know why we were doing this. At times I had asked one of the young staff, why are we doing this? Why do we have to keep silent? And they wouldn't explain anything. So, but God explained it to me, right? Because He knows what they hide. He knows what the Boy Scouts has hidden for about a century, right? Since 1910, and the Order of the Arrow since 1915, right? And so after that ceremony, we went to eat normal food at the food court, right? It was like the ceremony was over. They gave us the sash. They gave us a manual, a CD, I don't know, a folder with our register info, and it's like, things like that. And I was like, oh wow, you are now members of the Ordeal. So after the camping, the next day we went, and I felt a lot of heaviness. I was exhausted. My dad and I were exhausted, and sometimes even right now, every time that I talk about it, when I explain it, to my mom, they know about it, right? Because I've told them what happened, and God has shown it a lot. God has shown us a lot of stuff regarding this, and so the thing is that, okay, after that, when we were driving, a weird thing happened, basically, and some might say, oh, it was bad luck, but this is because there are demonic things going on there, and they can harm us, like literally, because when we were driving, when we went to the car, when we were getting out of the parking lot, my dad and I were kind of silent, but he told me, we looked at each other like something happened, because we could feel that something was wrong in our spirit. And he told me, like, when we get home, we're gonna, like, we gotta talk about it. And I was like, yeah, because it was something, we gotta know what this is for real, because it's not what they say, it's a lie. But the thing is that when we were getting out of the parking lot, the road is parallel to the gate entrance. We turned left. We were going that road, and as we were going there, out of nowhere, the front right wheel of our car like blew up. But it wasn't like a little bit, it was like boom, blew up. The car went like kind of slanted down, and I was scared. And then, but it was like right when we turned left, like a couple meters later, some meters after that, the tire blew up, and it wasn't a puncture. It was like as if you took a knife and you slashed the whole wheel, basically. So it was we had to take the wheel out and put one of the replacement wheels. And now, gratefully, behind us, because we were all going away, behind us was one member of my troop. And when they saw it, and we stopped at the side of the road, they helped us, and they were like, wow, it was like inches long, that it was a sash. And after that, I was like, and it's no coincidence, because coincidences don't exist, and yeah, there's in that's proof, because in another camping that I went later, which I'm gonna talk in part 2 or part 3. Well, part 2, which is next video, I'm gonna talk about the all the things that I found out about this, later, all the research, all the documents. But basically, I started to realize that this did have demonic, very bad repercussions. Like, oh, what a coincidence, you went out of that and suddenly your tire blew up at the same time that you went out. So yeah, there's demonic things in there. And after that camping, when it was a big shock to me, because I've been a Boy Scout for 8 years and I never thought there was anything dark secret or anything bad there, but there is. And unfortunately, it's hidden from basically everybody in the Boy Scouts. I don't know. I only know like maybe one person that has talked about Freemasonry and how it's related to the Boy Scouts. I think it's on YouTube, a video. But apart from that, I don't know anybody else who has had the same situation. And I've only shared this with two people, my two friends from my group, from my troop, and hopefully they listen to me and they were like, like, wow, because, well, this is something that God doesn't show everybody, and I never expected that this was gonna be something like this. I always thought that the Boy Scouts, was a innocent Christian pseudo-Christian organization, but I never thought that it actually had, pagan origins. So, on the next video, a video recording, I'm gonna talk about all the information that I found out about it, and next has the information. I'm gonna talk about the links that I found about it from some Freemason websites, and from the Boy Scouts, of America, right? There's actually, because you see, they don't hide it, but they don't talk about it. So because they don't talk about it, nobody else knows. Like, why? Because people usually don't find, they don't do research. They just do what they're told. They just follow what is said, and that's it. But people have to do their own research. They have to read about it themselves. They have to question everything, and that includes the mainstream. So yeah. Next part is gonna be all the information that I found out about this, about the Boy Scouts and the Order of the Arrow, and how those two things are related directly or indirectly to Freemasonry. And also I'm going to talk about how the Boy Scouts basically lied about Baden Powell being the founder of Boy Scouts, and also in some Freemason influence that Baden Powell had from Freemasons, because he had friends who were Freemason. It's not just that he wasn't Freemason, but he had Freemason influence, so that does matter. That mattered when he created the Boy Scouts, so that's what I'm going to talk about next video. And then on the last part 3, I'm going to talk about another camping, the last camping that I went after that, which was one of our annual campings, the week-long camping. I think this one was on 2019, on winter, so on December 2019, so a year later. And in this other camping, God showed me more evidence regarding that relationship between Freemasonry and the Scouting movement and the OA, and also some things about that specific campsite, and how that Oaxaca Scout Ranch is basically dedicated to Freemasonry, and also how God showed me that some staff there are Mason. Like I saw them with symbols of Freemasonry, of the compass, the ruler, and the letter G in the middle. So yeah, so I'm just gonna post this one and then the next two. So God bless and goodbye.